Is it flick between 2 and 3 and 4? That's again brilliant. Good evening and welcome to Ask the Plasterer with me, Eric the Plasterer. Okay guys, for the regulars, evening fellas, nice to have you along again. For anyone that's new here, just any questions you might have about plastering, whether you are a plasterer, a novice plasterer, a DIYer, a customer looking for plasterers from around the country, then you've come to the right place. So, right, what I would like, guys, from anybody there is just a sound check as I pop from this one to the next camera, and just tell me whether the sound is all right and that you can hear me. Hello, hello. Hi, Andy. Evening, mate. There's no echo this evening, hopefully. Sorry, guys, that was a question. Hopefully there's no echo. Sounds good. Cheers, Altar. Hi, mate. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. I don't as time goes by and the summer kicks in more. I mean, fortunately, at the minute. Oh, no echo coming. No echoing. Oh, great stuff. Cheers, Andy. Yeah, as summer gets closer, I've noticed obviously the days are starting to get longer and the clocks are going forward soon, so we're going to lose an hour in the old getting up in the morning. At some point at 7 o'clock, you're going to be out in, if you've got a garden, you're going to be out in the garden having a barbecue and a beer, and you think, I don't really want to go indoors. I'll do Ask the Plasterer this evening. Maybe it's a bit later, so drop me your thoughts on that one. I mean, in the moment, it's not too bad. It's more or less gets dark around this time, and it feels like, yeah, do a bit of Ask the Plasterer, but you know what it's like in the middle of summer. It can feel a bit like, yeah, it feels like the middle of the afternoon still. So, hey, hi, Mike. Yeah, I'm really well, thanks, mate. Oh, did you watch the part 2 of the video? Plaster scene looks very good, sir. Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's about time I got another video out there. Because, yeah, some guys, they like Ask the Plasterer, but they go, get another video up, Bill, because, we kind of like subscribe because we like your videos, and they're getting a bit slack. But that's only because I'm trying to find stuff that's interesting enough to put up that people are going to want to watch. Because if you put something up that's a little bit too samey, oh, this is me again, plastering a wall again, you think, yeah, do I really want to watch that? So the third part of this little video series, I split it into 3 because, man, if I've learned one thing, if you made it a one video, it was about 45 minutes long. No one would watch it, or not for more than a few minutes anyway. So the third part is more or less finished, and that is me delving into using the old ad mixes for oh god, yeah, I'm getting old, man. The easy mix for retarding and or half time and extra time. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, I won't tell you much about that until you see the last video, part 3 of that. God, it was fun. Yeah, flipping editors. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Enough said about that one. Dear. Right. Yeah, I haven't really done much to change the screens from the last time he was up. Mostly because this one I hardly used at all because with the little videos on the side there, because it kept echoing, and we moved over to the other one, which is still there. There you go. We've still got all the same stuff on it had last time. But Trow Talk, so nothing wrong with that. Ask the Plasterer, yeah, cool. But that fella doing that light and tripod video, I don't really want to watch him anymore. So that's better. Right. Also, a bit later on, guys, I'm going to run an idea past you about either using this channel or a sort of a secondary one off of this Ask the Plasterer, and also connected with the thing that's down on the left-hand side of your screen there, the old Discord server, which quite a few of you have bothered to log on to, but not as many as I would have thought. So I know it's going to kick off a little bit more slowly, but hey. But I'm looking into, nothing's definite. How can I put this? I get a lot of inquiries from people via my channel whether I could possibly do their plastering. Now, on one occasion, one of the people was really close to me, which was great, and that was a job for me, fantastic. But oftentimes, as it would be, people are spread right around the country, as quite a few of you guys are, and I was just thinking of if someone gets in touch and they're looking for a plasterer in, well, wherever you guys live, I could put them on to you. I'm looking at maybe you knocking up a video for you. I mean, if you do it or you started doing this for a living and you want to advertise yourself, knock up a little video and send it to me. And if we can do something with that, again, it's all in the initial looking into it stage and experimenting. But yeah, give us your thoughts on that. I mean, I'd be quite interested to to do something in that instance to kind of expand things. But yeah, right. Don't know how busy we are. Aren't going to be this evening. 12 viewers. Woo-hee. I'm surprised that it does get quite busy as time goes on. I don't know how long people stay on for. I can't believe when we're jabbering on here for what? How long? Yeah, sometimes up to pushing 2 hours. I don't think people will stick around for that whole time, apart from you fantastic regular guys. And of course, I've got to be here, but yeah, I might try and cut it down to an hour or so and see how we get on. Hi, Stephen. Hi, mate. Oliver, yay, nice to see you, mate. How are you? Are you all right? Oliver, have you signed up to the old Discord yet, mate? Yeah, I'll have to check later. See if you've become a member. Not difficult. I've put as many. It gets a little bit confusing, but I've put some really basic instructions of once you've actually got onto this Discord server, what little button you've got to tick to become a member, so that you can see everything and participate in talking to other people verbally or video or typing. So we can like chat in groups. Yeah, the only reason you have to click on another thing to become a member is to stop robots from just making pretend memberships on the site, which then later on can become a pain. But anyway, enough of that. Mike, what kind of bead do I get? I have to plaster an arch doorway. Not done one before and newish to the plastering. You can get pre-formed archways, mate, for doorways and for larger openings. The best one you can get, which sometimes works out cheaper than the supposed cheaper ones, as a True Line is the name you're looking for. I think it's TRULINE. They come like a typical door arch will be made up of 4 pieces, and you fix them basically into the opening, 2 on one side, 2 on the other, and the actual curved bit is a smooth curved bead. For a standard door opening, it's normally just the sort of the semicircle. For the bigger openings, you can buy quite fancy ones. But again, whatever the size they are, they all come in 4 pieces, which you basically kind of stick up, wire together, get them nice and even, and then get a pricking up coat of bonding on them. So you've got a solid structure, and then once that's gone off, you can kind of float it out to give you your base for your arch. The True Line ones, as I said, they've got a smooth bead, which is what you want around the curve. I thought years back, I popped into B&Q and they had some supposedly cheap ones. They were half the price, at least, again, of a True Line arch. And the bead, instead of being smooth, it was like the mesh. It was rough. So as you took your trowel around the curve, your trowel would vibrate around that, which is something you can get over it, but something you don't really want. If you've got a nice smooth bead, then when you run your trowel around it, obviously it's nice. You get a nice smooth finish, and it's not an issue you have to mess about with. So, Mike, hopefully that gives you some idea. But a True Line archways, arch formers. If you Google them, something should come up. But I say it comes in 4 bits, and yeah, they're quite self-explanatory. When you look at the parts, if you offer them up into a doorway, then you'll see what's what. Obviously, if it's a doorway that's already got a door in it, you'd have to take the frame and stuff out of the door opening. But yeah, hey. Zoltar, plastic flexi bead screw fix. Are you talking about to just go around an old arch, Zoltar, with that? I mean, because my on the video where I did a freehand arch that was originally Artexed, and I didn't use any kind of bead on it, and a lot of guys said to me, oh, you can get a flexible plastic bead, which I hadn't seen before, and so far I haven't used. But Mike's asking about the actual structure you can fix into a square opening, a normal doorway to make it an arch doorway, and a preformed arch maker basically is what you want. Plaster Centurion. Hello, mate. Did you get that? Did you have a look at that plastic? He was asking about that earlier, weren't you? I stuck a link on there. I'm pretty sure it looks exactly the same stuff that I get from my local builders merchants, but nowhere else seems to do it. I didn't think they did it on Amazon, but I looked it up because it's an affiliate link for me. If they've got anything, I'll get a little kickback off anything that you guys buy via a link. Then, but I'm pretty sure it's exactly the same stuff. The roll should be about 1 metre long, and then it unrolls. You chop a bit, you roll it to the length you want, cut it off, and then it unfolds, and basically it'll cover most average size floors. In most rooms, they haven't got joints everywhere, and you can just tape them around the edges. And so I've been using it for years. Fantastic stuff. You did great, brilliant. And yeah, it just keeps the floor nice and clean. And carpets, it's amazing how it protects the old carpet. Because you think a bit of plastic, some of the really old thin stuff is no good. And if someone's got a decent carpet, you don't want to be putting something down that might rip and get all plaster on it. But no, here you go. Oh, sorry, mate. Yeah, sorry. Hi, yeah. Did my first render job on the weekend, fireplace. My question is timing, when to float. I found the render was accumulating on the float. Was I doing it too soon? When you say the float, mate, do you mean the plastic float? Like you're rubbing it up with a plastic float, the render at this point. Found the render was accumulating on the float. Yeah, I mean the render, if it is a plastic float you're using at this stage, and yeah, and you're rubbing it up and it's catching and it's pulling a lot of the gear off, it's probably still a little bit too wet. And also, the flatter it is, the less chance you're going to pull any off or catch any on the edge of your float. If it's slightly undulating when you go around with it, especially if it's a little bit wet, it will kind of shave lumps off, which can be a bit of a pain. But yeah, mate, you probably just need to leave it a little bit longer before you float it up. And then I always finish off with a sponge, because even if the rendered finish is still a little bit wet, you can get a really nice finish on it with a sponge, which you can't get with the wooden or plastic float. Oh, you found that arch, Mike? Just googled it. Brilliant. Yeah, as you say, once you look at them, mate, they're fairly self-explanatory. Could be a little bit twiddly when you're fixing them in, but it's a learning curve. And when you've done your first one, mate, you'll love it. At the bottom of the doorway where the arch finishes, you have to set in your own bead to meet up with the beginning of the arched bead. When you buy the arch, you're literally just getting the arch and then it stops, and you have to stick an ordinary plasterboard bead or render bead from that bottom of that arch down to the floor. Eddie, hi Eddie. Remember the problem I had with stilts? You've been 6'2", mate. I used to work tall boots now. Love them. Is that the boots? I don't know if you've been on there. Stuart, on the Trail Talk Facebook group, he was giving some away. I think they're literally those kind of boots that you strap onto your, they look like funny looking buckets with straps on the top, which you strap onto your shoes. They look like ankle breakers to me, but Stuart reckons that they work pretty well. And if you are really tall and you can't get the small enough stilts, then they probably would be an ideal. But if you're using them, Eddie, and you love them, mate, then that's all that matters. As I always say, if it's working and you're enjoying using them, and there's no problem with them, then fantastic. But you be careful. You be careful on them. Don't want to plaster. You don't want to twist an ankle, mate. Still need stilts for some higher ceilings, though. Yeah, no, fair enough, mate. Yeah, because a lot of ceilings are, even if you're 6'2", they're still a bit of a stretch, even with some of those tall boots on. No worries, Plastering Centurion. Man, that's a mouthful of. You'd have to shorten that. I'll have to give yourself some kind of nickname. I'll call you instead. Yeah, 12 high. Eddie, 12 foot high. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I hate doing above a standard height ceiling. When it started getting to kind of 11, 12 foot high, my stilts do adjust to that, but I don't like using them extended that high. You're kind of waiting for your leg to catch up with you every time you take a step. And if you're confident, it's a bit like ice skating. If you're confident, you can walk on them extended up high and really fine. But if you just for a minute you get a bit anxious that you might trip, and suddenly you find yourself feeling really unsteady on them. But that's how I got used to using my stilts. When I first bought them, I couldn't really get the hang of them for a while, and I got this great big. It was about a 12-foot high ceiling I had to do, and I put the stilts up so I could reach it. Oh man, they frightened the life out of me being up there. I think in the end I got off them and I just used a really tall ladder. But then when I put the stilts back down to the normal height for a standard ceiling, it was like walking on the floor. So if you get some stilts at any stage and you feel a bit frightened on them, raise them up high, walk on them a little bit, and then when you put them back down, you'll feel like you're on the floor. A bit like getting out of when you got off the motorway and you're driving about 30 in a car, you feel like you can get out and walk next to it. You can't, obviously, but that's what it feels like. Same with stilts. Yeah, free nugget there. Eddie, not at my age, mate. What's not at your age, mate? I've missed that. MPH, yeah, sorry, mate. That's all right, mate. You'll forgive you. As long as you came along, didn't you? You probably missed a bit about me saying when the clocks go forward and it's nice and sunny out, that at 7 o'clock on Ask the Plasterer night, everyone's probably going to be out in the garden having a beer and a burger. So, but we'll play that by ear, whether we make the time a bit later or, yeah, we'll plan it between us. Yeah, that's what you've missed really, mate, and me waffling as usual about stilts and archways. But you can always watch the replay, mate, later on. My phone number. You'll be pleased to hear that I accidentally rubbed off my narrated voice for the phone number. So hang on, let me just do it once myself. Call now, 07516 214 983. 07516 214 983. Have 5 minutes of fame. Give me a ring and talk to me. Dear. But no, you haven't missed anything, mate. You never had safety goggles on, Eric, doing that ceiling, brave man. In case something plops in your eyes. I have had a fair amount of plaster in my eyes over the years. You do need to be careful, because it can give you a case of like what feels like conjunctivitis for about a week if you get a big lump of finish in your eye, because the aggregate scratches your eyeball. But it's not normally too bad. Yeah, and what you actually, I mean, but I still do it. When you go over your head with a trowel, you should never really actually go over your head. You should always be slightly to the side of where you're plastering. So if it does drop off, it plops beside your head. It's a bit, once you get the hang of things, it's so tempting to just go right over the top of your face and your head with the trowel. And you only need a little bit of gear to drop off the back of your trowel even and plop in your eye. And it's it's not good. But I don't know if I could. Well, I probably could plaster with goggles on, but that's like wearing a mask to mix stuff up because of the dust. Which when I have done, I do it for a while and then I just forget and then end up not doing it again. But I don't suppose over the years breathing in all that dust can be good for you. When it's part 3 of the lodge, Eddie, part 3 of the lodge, I've more or less finished it. If I wasn't doing this tonight, I probably would have get it up tonight, but hopefully it'll be up tomorrow. And that's me using the accelerator. Excuse me. Typical sneeze. Right, okay. Yeah, so with any joy, when I get home from work tomorrow, I will get that. I'll get that up and published. So something to look forward to. Yeah, like buses, right? No videos, and then suddenly 2 or 3 come along at once. Right, Jamie. Oh, Eric, hello, mate. Found out about you on the Trowel Talk group. Oh, well, nice one. Yeah, Stuart, bless him. Yeah, it's a good old group. He's got a fantastic group he's set up there. I don't know how long he's been doing it for, but yeah, it's amazing. We got a plug on him. Oh, hang on, I'll show you. There you go. There's a plug for the old Trow Talk there. From a great Facebook group from Seasoned Professional Spread, Stuart Roberts. You're welcome, Stuart. You're welcome. Right, yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah, hope this builds up into a decent podcast for us spreads. Great idea, buddy. Cheers, mate. Yeah. As I say, I do this as a live stream on the YouTube, and then I put it out as a podcast for anybody that could bear to listen to it all again, or that hasn't listened to it. It's on. You can get it on Spotify after once I've uploaded it, and you can make your earphones in because I listen to the radio all day. And I'm just thinking, if you haven't tuned in or you've tuned into part of it, you think, oh, I'll go on Spotify and I'll stick my old earphones in or put my speaker on. And while I'm spreading, I'll have a listen to what questions the guys are asking or just generally what we're talking about. So, yeah, thanks for that, mate. Thanks. Yeah, hopefully, Stuart, go from strength to strength, and hopefully we will on this old Ask the Plasterer thing. Liam, hi Liam. Apart from all the obvious plastering tools, trowels, mixers, speed skims, etc., what are your must-have tools you often need? Obviously, a Hulk and trowel. As a professional plasterer, you want a Marshalltown trowel for laying on. That's the kind of the big daddy that's been around for donkey's years. There are other brands now that do great laying on trowels, but that was your classic. It's a Yankee trowel, Marshalltown. Laying on trowel. Hulks, yeah, it doesn't matter what Hulk you buy at the end of the day. Plastic ones, metal ones, whatever you feel comfortable with or get used to. Some kind of whisk. Like, you don't have to buy the. I mean, I've got a half decent thing that the hire shops use that lasted me for donkey's years. Well, up until very recently, I've just bought a new one. But yeah, a whisk. And well, yeah, I've only recently in the last couple of years started using speed skims, so they're not an essential by any means. But yeah, Hulk trowel, mixer, buckets, float, plastic float. I don't do sponging, so don't have any sponge floats. I have some sponges in case I want to rub up a bit of render. But yeah, that's it basically, mate. You can more or less plaster anything with those. You don't have to buy any of the other fancy kit and caboodle that's out now, but it does come in handy. I love the old speed skin since I started using it. I mean, I was around before the whisks were used, and we used to have a tin bath to knock up bonding and browning in, and the finish you knocked it up in a standard sized bucket or a couple of buckets, or get your labourer to do it, and you'd literally have like a bike cog on the end of the pole with a handle to knock the lumps out of it. Oh man, the invention of the whisk was fantastic for plastering, and I've never looked back. Well, not unless you really enjoy knocking up gear in a bath, but man, that's hard work. I mean, you was knackered before you even started. If you didn't have a labourer and you were doing all that, and then after you've knocked it all up, then you've got to put it all on the wall, then tidy up, and then knock up another one, and it was pretty tiring. But with a whisk, it takes all the effort out of it really at the end of the day. We're spoilt really nowadays. Spoilt. Andy, hi. Where can I find the link to the sheeting you put down on the floor at your jobs? Andy, at the bottom of, should be on all my videos now because I updated the links today. One of the links near the top should say plastic roll floor protection, and it's got an Amazon link next to it in the old blue writing. Just click on that and it will take you straight to the page that's got that plastic on it, and you can order it from there. And as I said to the other guys, anything you order after you've clicked on one of my Amazon links, I get a little kickback off it, which I can put into keeping this channel going and improving it. Bought myself a nice mic. Actually, it was a bargain. I think it was meant to be about 40 quid, which is still a cheap mic. It's not a posh one. But my missus had a discount voucher and something else. It ended up being about 11 quid. And hopefully it sounds better. I don't know. You'd have to tell me. Zoltar, workwear. It's time for shorts, I think. Oh, mate, yeah, in the summer. I'm just a shorts and a vest top man in the summer. It gets too hot when you're plastering. And this last summer when there was, I think we were allowed to work. Anyway, I was doing a bit of work. It was for one of my sisters. So, actually, I was doing a hall stairs and landing, and it was absolutely cooking. And, it was terrible, mate. But at least in the winter, you can just work hard and stay warm. But in the summer, if it's really hot, or if you're doing one of those, some work in the back of a conservatory on a house where the sun's shining in, oh God, that's terrible. Apart from all the suction issues you've got with the plaster as well. But sweating is on top of that, it's, but I love the summer. It's finally coming. It's a bloody lovely day today. Well, it was in London anyway. I had me Rona jab. Yesterday morning about 9 o'clock. Thankfully, my arm's okay because a lot of people said your arm kind of like really ache after. And as a plasterer, obviously, you don't want that. Got a little bit of the shivers last night, but other than that, I feel absolutely fine. Sorry guys, I'm going off at a tangent here, aren't I? But yeah, it's time for shorts, definitely. Well, not quite, but nearly. Andy, my bad, found it, mate. Cheers. Oh, great, Andy, great. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I think I mentioned to you guys before. Yeah, anything you buy, when you click on one of my links, doesn't matter what you buy after that, I get a little kickback off it. If you click on, I'll get a roll of plastic, and then I think, actually, no, there's something else that I need. It's got nothing to do with plastering tools, and as far as I know, I get a little kickback off of that as well. So I'm told, but I'll let you know. Yeah, so on the I think it's on the left. It's on my left. The as I'm looking at my screen, the Discord site. There's about 14 of us as members on there at the minute, which is fine. A few of us having a chat on there. While it's not that many people on there, it won't be that active. But I tend to, after this tonight, I'll pop on there for a little while. And Saturday I'm on there between 10 and 11 on Saturdays at the minute, and then randomly in between. So once you're signed up to the old Discord server site, our plastering community, then we can chat on there, put up pictures, videos, chat live. You can have a video on, but if you're shy, which I think a lot of you guys are, you can just talk on there without the video. So don't let that put you off. Dear. Right. Where are we? Well, if you are new to this Arthur Plasterer and you are more of a potential customer than you are a tradesman, and you want to ask any questions, you can ask me. Well, I'm hoping in the future, the way we do this via the Discord community, is you can ask me, or you can ask any of these other guys that are plasterers, being time served ones or fairly new plasterers. But if you're looking for a plasterer, possibly somewhere near where you live, because obviously YouTube channel audiences are far and wide, then I'm happy to promote other plasterers and point customers like yourselves into their direction. Because if you're in Yorkshire, I'm sorry, but I can't help you. Even if you wanted to pay me silly money, well, unless it was really silly money and it was worth me driving to Yorkshire. But yeah, I could pass it on to one of the guys that lives in Yorkshire. So that's my kind of plan I'm playing around with at the minute. But if any of you guys got any ideas, or you think it's a good idea or a rubbish idea, let me know in the comments, or drop me an email. For you guys that haven't got my email address, it's erictheplasterer@gmail.com. If you can't remember that, there's not a lot of hope for you. Jamie, hi Jamie. Here's the link for buying TPS plastic rolls. That's it, mate. Yeah, temporary plastic sheeting. I'll stick a dash sheets. Yes, mate. Yes, temporary plastic sheeting. As I said, it should be the same one as I pick up from my local builders merchants, but not a lot of places seem to stock it. Those rolls should hopefully be about 1 metre long. And then you unroll them, cut a strip off, and then they unfold the plastic. It's a fairly decent thickness because you want that, especially if you're protecting a decent carpet. And I take them around the edge, lovely. When I'm using my stilts, there's no trip hazard on the plastic when it's pulled tight. Dust sheets, wow, man, I wouldn't want to be walking around on dust sheets. They can pucker up so easy underneath rubber-footed stilts. And plus, I know a lot of guys chuck down a dust sheet. Normally, they get covered so much in plaster, mate. If someone had a really decent carpet, and I say I'd probably make more of a mess putting the dust sheets on their carpet than if I didn't. So yeah, plastic every time. I've been using it for donkeys. But yeah, that stuff in the link, mate, is what I use. Yeah, for anyone that didn't hear either, that this live stream does go out as a podcast on Spotify. Ask the Plasterer. Just search for that and you'll find it. You'll find some other Ask the Plasterers. A wealth of knowledge for the plasterer and the customer alike. So, Eddie, I couldn't join it. Can you explain how to get on? Right. Also, Eddie, then in my video descriptions, it should again be on all my videos. Underneath the old blue writing that says Discord, and it's got blue writing next to it. You click on that and you will get an invite to join the Discord server, which is this thing I'm promoting for us to chat on. And once you get on it now, I have put fairly good instructions of what you've got to do. If you look at the welcome part of it, and then there's a little page about rules, and there's a little tick with a number next to it, which is the number of people that have become members. And you've got to click on that little tick to be able to see everything else that the members can see. If you don't click on it, you won't see anything at all apart from the welcome and the rules page, which is obviously useless to anybody. But if you follow that invite, you do have to download the little app to your phone or to your computer, but it's not a big deal when it's free. And just follow the instructions that I've put on the welcome page or the rules page, and that should get you on there. Give that a try and let me know whether you can do it okay, because I feel a lot of people are struggling with trying to link onto it or become a member on it. But obviously, the more of us we can get on there, and then we can all chat to each other about all sorts of stuff, jobs we're doing, issues we might have with stuff, anything at all. And I'm trying to get potential customers to use it as well, so they can ask us questions, not just me, but you guys as well, that are out there. I'd like to be able to, spread the word, spread the love, spread the plaster. That's what spreads do, yeah. And because I can't plaster everybody's plastering, as I said, and especially, my part of London, but if it's a slightly further away part of London, being a bit old and lazy as I am, then I probably think, well, I'd rather give it to any of you guys that live a little bit nearer to that part of London than I do, or anywhere else in the country. So, let me know what you think about that idea that I mentioned back at the beginning. Mike, what's your advice, Eric, on blending into an existing wall? If I can help it, if it's a small enough bit of wall, I will try and not blend in and go cover the whole wall up to an internal angle or an external angle, an internal angle normally. If you have to blend something in, then it's difficult. You feather your plaster off where that blend is, and obviously initially it sticks out quite proud, but as it's going off, and only as it's going off, you can't mess about with it when it's too wet. It has to be going off to get the blend to go in. I found if I start to use a ultra flex trowel on it, because of the flexibility of the blade, you can get a really tight blend up against the existing plaster. with a normal laying on trowel, Marshalltown, whatever, when you're doing that bit, I mean, that's fine for laying it on, but when you're trying to smooth that edge out and blend it in, the Marshalltown or the more solid trowels, laying on trowels, can kind of rip the edge, which is what you're trying to avoid, whereas the more flexible ones, they will glide over and slowly work that in. Obviously, making sure you keep it nice and wet with a bit of spray. But don't do it too soon, because you'll just kind of scrape it back off again. That's the best advice I can give you, mate. I know Blaine Gray on his channel, he has got a video about how he blends in. I don't think he uses. I mean, he does a lovely job. He doesn't like blending in either, because if you can go across a whole wall rather than make a joint, because the best joint you can do, depending on how the light's shining, even if you can't feel the joint, so often times if it's just being painted and they're not putting any kind of lining paper over it or anything, you can still see that blend or that joint. So, and to try and hide it completely, probably a decorator's job trying to feather it more and sand it and put filler on it. So if you ever can go across a bit more wool and do a whole wool rather than blend it in or patch something up. But understandably, if it's a massive wool and it's only got a really small bit you need to do, then it's daft not to. It would be daft to cover the whole wool, unless the customer's happy for you to do that and are willing to pay. Then, then that would be good. Jamie, spot on. That's the stuff. Brilliant, Jamie, brilliant. Yeah, order it on my link, mate. Help the channel. Adam, hello Adam. Hello mate. How do you go on regarding injuries? My back and elbow is already knackered. Any tips? Your back, mate. You probably only normally would hurt your back when you're bending, if you're doing ceilings and you're kind of bending back a bit too far. The elbow stuff, a few guys have asked me about tennis elbow and that. Recently, I don't know if it's any good, just an advert came up for some kind of, I thought it was something you rubbed on, but I think it's some kind of gadget that you can use on a part of your arm. I didn't even look at it, but there are gadgets out there that you can use. I don't mean these things that massage you. Well, I don't think that's what it was, but it was, I can't even remember what it was called. That would help, wouldn't it? But if you do some kind of Google search on tennis elbow physical instruments for helping to make it better, you might be able to find it. Sorry, mate. If I come across it again, I'll know next time, or I'll put a post up on the community, something like that. So, yeah. But other than that, mate, yeah, you just got to be careful with your back. I mean, I had some really serious back issues donkeys ago, and I thought I was just an age thing, and lower back, which is where most people get back issues, and but thankfully I say it just went off, but apart from this lockdown, I used to be on quite a regular gym bunny, and 3 nights a week, something like that, but not at the minute, obviously. And I found the stronger you can make your muscles in your back, the more they'll support and take pressure off your spine. Because I did train as a personal trainer for a while when I was looking at getting out of this game, but it never came off in the end. It was too much. It was too much hard work. I qualified as a personal trainer for anyone that's interested, but I was doing that and plastering, and the two were just too much. and the plastering was proper bread and butter money. So I knocked the personal trainer on the head. I thought, yeah, no, I'll stick with plastering. but yeah, if you can build your muscles up in your back, mate, then that will help a lot against stopping backache. And yeah. Chris, hello, Chris. Have you used magnetic plaster? No, we chatted about it on the last Ask the Plasterer, I think. I know you can buy it. Someone told me it was about £90 a bag, and it's you can stick magnets to it. It's not actually magnetic, although it's called magnetic plaster. Yeah, because I thought, you can stick metal to it, but it turns out you just plaster a wall with the stuff, and then any kind of, in the kids' room, little magnet things they've got will stick to that wall. Whether it's any good or worth the money, I've no idea. But hey, give it a go. Oh, hang on, Dale's got some advice, I think, on the old tennis elbow. Been suffering with tennis elbow for a coming up to a year now. It's recently started to get better, and I've been using ice packs 2 or 3 times a day. Also look up stretches and exercises for tennis elbow. Yeah, thanks for that, Dale. I mean, any advice anyone's got for things like that? I've just been lucky not to get it. Apart from when I overdid it on a job that I was on for far too long, trying to get it bashed out, and I was just troweling up all day long, and the elbow, and it's the same right in here, that gave me grief. But again, only for a couple of weeks after that, and then it went off, and I've not had an issue with it since. But it's been a bit careful. It's probably so easy to strain your old elbow, or that muscle that's connected that gives you what's called tennis elbow. Also try to get rest in at least a week here and there when you can. Yeah, that's nice if you can do it when if you get a bit of a chance to. Oftentimes, if the work's there, you just kind of, if anything like me, you just kind of do it. I mean, I don't work weekends anymore because you need a bit of rest and relaxation. You've got to recharge the batteries. If any of you guys are 6 or 7 day a weekers, one day just rolls into the next, and the money's nice, but you can't lose the will to live because you ain't got no time to spend it. And then if you have too much time off, you ain't got any money to spend. But thankfully it seems to have been fairly busy, at least in London, on the plastering front these last few months, and hopefully, and a lot of people other older people that have had their jabs that cancelled me a year ago are coming back to get their jobs done, which is good. But if you can rest anything, I think I've said before, I've got a trapped ulnar nerve in this, which I'd never heard of until I looked it up, in my left hand, which makes your these 2 fingers and the side of your hand go numb. And I've had that for about 3 months now, and it hasn't changed, hasn't got any better. I can still work with it, but you lose grip strength in that hand, and the kind of numb feeling's just not very nice. And when your hands are cold, numb as well as cold feels horrible. But I'm surviving. It's only me Hulk holding hand, so it's not too bad. But yeah, with anything, I've been told with this thing that I've got, if you rest it, but how long for? I mean, I've had at least a week off at some point and not used it at all, or tried not to, but there's been no kind of change in it. Alex, hi Alex. I'm an apprentice. Good on you, mate. And haven't been put on a ceiling yet. Best advice for when my boss decides I'm ready to hit a ceiling. Yes, mate. Just make sure you mix it up a decent thickness. The finish. When I was learning, the guy that taught me, he just let you get on with it. And rather than my first bit of a ceiling I had to go at, but I was only training at the time, so it wasn't like a customer's house or anything. I got a big splat of it on my face, and it was going everywhere. And then he said to me, "You've mixed it up too thin," which would have been nice if he'd have told me I needed to mix it up thicker. But that's what I'm at least advising you on that. Make sure it's not too thin when you're doing the lid. Much less chance of like dropping, well, any of it really, especially not on your face. Cover it as quickly as you can. That goes for any kind of plastering you're doing, mate. As long as the idea is to get the plaster on quickly. I mean, I'd worked with guys years ago, and one particular guy had a really big ceiling to do, and I thought he was a fairly well-trained plasterer, and until we hit this ceiling, and I'm whacking this stuff on, working my way back, and then when I looked back at him, he was in the corner of the ceiling still where we started. And he was messing about with the little bit he had put on. I mean, he could lay some stuff on, but he'd laid a bit on, and then he was playing with it. And you just can't do that if you get any size ceiling. And obviously, if it's smaller, then all the better. Just get the plaster on. Don't mix it too thin, and get it on there as quick as you can. Once it's on, then you can worry about flattening it out. I don't know as an apprentice whether they let you use speed skims or anything like that, or whether it's just purely traditional using the trowel, Alex. But yeah, can't think what else to just be. Yeah, although you're trying to get it on quickly, kind of try and stay cool and collected, and don't over rush, because that's another time you'll get plaster in your face or whatever. But it soon comes. I mean, once you've got the knack of a ceiling, you don't find them much different to doing a wall at the end of the day, which is good. But yeah, I hope that helps, Alex. Let us know how you get on, mate. And yeah, I hope your boss is a nice fella. And yeah, I had a lot of one-day jobs when I was an apprentice, or when I started out after I finished my apprenticeship. And yeah, I had a lot of one-day jobs and got let go. But I got there in the end. No speed skim, just a 13-inch Marshalltown. They are teaching me to lay on properly first, then go into finishing and flattening, etc. Okay, mate, cool. Yeah, you'll probably know they'll probably be teaching you that you flatten out your first coat with your second coat. As often comes up on this channel and in my videos, I was taught, I don't know what they do now, I was taught to, in my mix, to knock up a big enough mix that you could water down what was left from your first coat to put on a tight second coat for laying down and flattening. And I've done that most of my plastering life. Whether or not they do that for you, hello Norman, whether or not they do that for you is now I don't know, but let me know, mate. Let me know. Hey Norman, nice to see you, mate. Nice to see you. How's it going? Did you the things you asked me about the other day? I don't know if you've done those yet, or whether you have yet to do them. It's to do with it's to do with putting neat PVA onto silk paint, and whether or not that would be good enough to seal it and to give you the grip for your finish. Yeah, let me know if you've done that, Norman, yet or not, or if you're about to do it sometime this week. And if you're about to do it, yeah, let me know how you get on. Alex, I'm being taught the same. We get it on as flat as possible, first coat, and then nice tight top coat, and go from there. Fantastic, Alex. Perfect, mate. Perfect. Yep, that's the way. Yeah. You don't. The spree skims are great, but they're not by no means essential. And it's good to learn the traditional way to get a couple of coats on the ceiling and get it all nicely troweled up without putting anything else on it except a trowel. I don't know. I mean, some of the stuff I was taught, we had to put on sometimes up to 3 coats. One with a trowel, one with a wooden float, and then another one back with a trowel again, to try and make the thing flatter. I don't know whether that actually worked or not, but on jobs and building sites, as soon as I left college, they don't want all that. They just want 2 coats, nice finish, that looks great when it's been painted. And you start putting 3 coats on with floats and wooden floats, your bosses look at you a bit funny and go, yeah, no, not exactly by the book. It's great, but yeah, we just need the job done. And it's still got to be the same, because obviously the quicker companies or builders get jobs done, or you yourself get a private job done, the sooner you get paid. Skimming it tomorrow, Norman. Right, okay. Well, so the PVA, have you PVA'd it already, Norman? If you have, then yeah, make sure it's dry. That's before you hit it. Alex, we do 3 coats for Artex. Yeah, I just do 1 coat of. Sorry, Alex, I'm talking to you now. We do 1 coat of, or I do 1 coat of bonding, and I level mine off with a speed skim. Again, don't need to use a speed skim. And then I put a skim over the top of that. A lot of guys now use this 40-50 or 50-50 mix of finish and bonding. Mix it together, and they use that as their kind of first coat over the Artex, and then they put a second coat over the top of that. But yeah, I don't think you'll be being taught that way, but I've never done it. I put a little bit of finish in bonding before, but that's only because I'd run out of bonding and it was a bit thin, so I thickened it up with some finish. But that's the only time I've mixed it together. But yeah, I normally just do a bonding coat, and then as soon as that pulled in or starts to pull in enough that I can get a finish on it, I'll get the finish on it. If it's a really big one and I'm not going to do it till the next day, I will give it a really good coat of neat PVA. So then, yeah, the next day, so it's got no suction in it. So when you set it, it comes out nice. Norman, on the second video, you use the steel speed skim. Do you let the second coat pull in a bit and the speed skim it, or is it straight away? I let it neat today. Oh, well done, mate. So that PVA is going off. Yeah, I let it pull up a little bit, pick up a little bit, but because that second coat I'm putting on is watered down from my first coat, it's going off quite quickly anyway. By the time you get the whole lot second coated, so you haven't got to wait very long. 5 minutes, maybe 10, maybe less. You really got to kind of feel your way with it. If it's starting to feel quite dry to the touch, at the stage where you would put water on it, then put water on it and use the metal speed skim. If it's so wet that it's not ready for water, don't put the metal speed skim on it. Once it's dry enough that you need to spray it, so you get a nice glide, that's when you use the metal speed skim. Water up there, then the metal speed skim. And then after that, I more or less go straight over it. Again, we have a little bit of water spray and my Ultraflex trowel. Alex Shepherd, bonding, sponge it up, then skim nice and tight. Yeah. If they're teaching you sponging, Alex, then that's fine. As I said, I've never been a fan of sponging. I mean, we did it at college, but I didn't like it then. And out in the trade over the years, just earning money, I tended to find that sponging up, well, anything apart from render, didn't make anything particularly noticeably more better than not sponging it. And there's a good chemical key between all the different plasters you generally use, as long as any surface you're going over has got a decent coat of PVA on it, and in my opinion, PVA that's dried completely, rather than going over PVA that's tacky. Even though that seems to be the kind of the done thing, it's a bit tacky, and then go over it. The only time I've had sliding issues with plaster sliding was going over tacky PVA rather than dry PVA. Eddie, hi Eddie. Have you ever just applied one coat to the wall? Yes, I've done one coat to the wall before. I've done a one coat on a ceiling before. Again, it's not common practice. It's not by the book. But if you get a fairly thick coat on and you roll it off in both directions, and it's nice and flat, and it's thick enough to cover everything it's meant to be covering, and then as it goes off, you could then take a metal speed skim over it when it's ready for some water, and then an Ultraflex over it, again using your water spray when it's at that stage. And if it looks lovely, smooth and flat, and when it's painted, if it looks lovely, smooth and flat, then then there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing a one coat, even though it's not the done thing. I would only use it if I put something on and there's something wrong with the plaster and it's going off rapid, and my options are quickly try and scrape it off before it starts going, or flatten it out as quickly as possible, preferably with a large speed skim of some description, and get it troweled up before it's gone off. And I'd rather do that and have the job finished than I would having to scrape it off and empty out a whole bucket of a whole bag of finish that's dodgy. I will use stuff. I mean, I've knocked up finish in the past that for one reason or another had lumps in it. We're not talking incredible lumps. We're talking about just little bits where the powder hasn't seemed to have, even though it's been well whisked up, just hasn't gone in properly. Whether it's come off the whisk or whether it's a slightly dodgy bag, but I will still use that stuff because although when you're first trying it on, you think, oh my God, this stuff is rubbish, you can get over it. But it's not fun and it's stressful, but at least when it's all done, you think, well, at least it's finished. And normally probably quicker because it was going off rapid, which I will cover that in my part 3 video that should be out tomorrow, part 3 of the Garden Lodge. Norman on Discord now, and oh, brilliant, well done, mate, well done. Now and join the group. It is great. Get yourself on it, Alex. Yeah, yes, Alex, do. Join us on the old Discord. It's fairly straightforward. There's links, Alex, I don't know if you heard earlier, there's links in all my videos for the Discord group, Ask the Plasterer group. We can chat to each other, not just on this forum where it's mostly me talking. But of course, if you want to ring me, the number is 07516 214 93. 07516 214 93. Of course, you got to come off of this to ring me. You can watch yourself later. Get your 2 minutes of fame. Alex, yeah, I would personally go over with a straight edge, but that's the way I'm being taught. Yeah, Alex. Whichever way you're being taught, mate. I don't think there would be kind of cutting corners with how you should be doing it. You should be taught the traditional way to plaster, and then any other things that you do as you progress through your career, and what tools you use or fancy gadgets that you can buy that you might or might not like. I mean, there's still guys, someone that Norman works with, he doesn't like speed skims or anything like that, won't touch them. He's proper traditionalist, and he just sticks with, I've got my hook, I've got my trowel. Don't talk to me about any of your other gadgets. Not interested, which is absolutely fine. There's been some in my early career. There's been some plasterers that can lay on stuff like lightning and finish it and get it all done, and they're just using hook and trowel. I mean, admittedly, they use some quite long trowels, some of the guys, but not for like laying on, but for like once it was on, for troweling up and what have you. Alex, personally, okay. Alex, to sponge it. Oh right, yeah, okay, mate. No worries. Eddie, no worries, mate. No worries. I'll get on it, mate. Yeah. Get on to the old Discord server, Alex, along with anyone else that's listening. You can chat to all of us on there, not just me, any of the other guys, about anything. Well, plastering related, preferably. There's a section on there for talking about tools. There's a section on there for just plastering chat generally. And again, if there's any potential customers out there that want to talk to any of the guys, not just me, then feel free to join the server. You need to become a member. The instructions are on there. It's quite easy once you're on the server. And once you're a member, you'll be able to see everything else on there and talk to or type to or video chat with anybody else. You don't have to ring people on it. If someone's on there chatting, you can have a nosy. You don't have to join the chat, or you can join the chat with or without a video. So if you're shy, you ain't got to worry about that. But get on there, guys, because until it grows and there's enough people on there chatting on a more regular basis, then it's not so much fun if you go on there and you're on your own. Mind you, there's quite a bit of stuff on there that you can read initially. Some chats we've had already on there about stuff, plastering in general, and about tools and what have you. But hoping to build it into a good community for plasterers, novices, and customers alike. Let's face it, guys, we all want customers. Otherwise, what's the point of being a plasterer? My boss is, Alex, my boss is like that, won't touch a speed skim or flexi. No, if he's an older guy, well, I'm an older guy, but I've just, I'll take on anything that might make my plastering life a bit easier, and be a little bit less strain on your joints because you're doing less arm movements. But you really, I think you need to be taught the traditional way to plaster, and it's good that these guys are traditional plasterers that are teaching you, because they teach you the right way than anything else you do from then. It's like learning to drive. You have to learn to drive by the book and know what's what. Excuse me. And after that, people's kind of like, what you do and don't do when you're driving. As long as you're safe, you don't stick 100% to the rule book or the highway code. Not in things that aren't dangerous, anyway. What's that, Eddie? If the Artex isn't thick, I've applied 2 coats of multi, no bonding, and it's been fine. Have you ever done this? Yes, Eddie, I've done that as well. I mean, I'll only do it if the Artex is just a really vague bubble or bump. If it's spiky at all, or there's any big ridges in it, I don't like relying on just a couple of coats of finish, because some of those ridges can show through the plaster, and also sometimes then when it's painted, although you can't feel it, you can sometimes see those ridges. But if it's nice and fine, the Artex, then by all means, mate. Yes, I've gone over Artex with just a couple of coats of finish before. But if it's spiky or got big ridges in it at all, I'll always give it a coat of bonding, because at least I know I'm not going to get any issues with it. I'm not going to have any problems while I'm doing it, and the customer's going to be happy that it's all flat. I just say I need to bond this over because it's I need a flat base to put the finish on, because the finish is only tight really at the end of the day. I mean, finish used to go on up to about 5mm thick, because when we didn't have the self-adhesive white and orange fiberglass tape to put on the joints, the Hessian Duke scrim, which used to be quite wide stuff, is basically sacking, and you had to put a coat of plaster on the wall and then bed the Duke scrim into it on the joints, and let that kind of go off a bit. And that was like the first part of you preparing a plasterboard wall to skim it. So obviously it was a longer process, but then you had to make sure you put enough in your 2 coats of finish was enough to cover the Hessian, because if you covered the wall, the smooth bits in between, and you got to a Hessian joint, and once you were done, you could see the Hessian, or you could feel it underneath on the joints. Apart from looking terrible, it wouldn't be good, and you wouldn't get paid, or you get the sack or whatever. But that's not an issue anymore. Well, they did have a thin cotton scrim that wasn't self-adhesive. You still had to bed it into plaster, but that didn't stop cracking. Joints still cracked with cotton scrim, so I don't know why they ever used that. But this fiberglass stuff now, that's lovely. Malcolm, hello Malcolm. What's that, Alex? Yeah, you can get away with a normal skim on some Artex if it's not too thick. Yeah. Once it's, again, you've got to be careful scraping it back. I used to scrape Artex off a lot early days. Some old Artex as well, it smelt like rotten eggs when you. No, it wasn't definitely Artex. It was nothing to do with me. It smelt like rotten eggs, and I used to think, well, I better tell the customer that smell is something to do with this Artex that I'm scraping off. It's not me. But then that was fine, and then I found out quite a long time afterwards that there was still could be traces of asbestos in Artex up to at least 2000 because of stockpiled stuff and whatever. So it's not a great idea. I don't think it's the most deadly asbestos, but it's not a great idea to be scraping Artex off and breathing in any of the dust that comes off it. So I'll knock off the odd little peak if I have to, but generally, if stuff is like that, I won't scrape it back. I'll just bond it. Right, Malcolm. Hi Eric, you missed me earlier. Sorry, Malcolm. How do you cope with a Dalmatian? What dog is that? This is not another kind of pattern on the wall, is it? Those tiger stripes one week, Dalmatian the next. Hang on. How do you cope with a Dalmatian wall or ceiling where it sucks like mad in some areas, but not in others? Also, at what stage do you start using the corner trowel? Actually, it's not on part 2. I think on part 3 of this video I've got coming out, Malcolm, it is speeded up on a couple of these walls I do that join up in a corner. I basically put one wall on, put the other one on, butt the 2 up, and then I will get my plastic speed skim right into that angle and drag away across one wall, back into the angle, drag across the other wall to get a corner. Fairly nice, but still quite rough, obviously. And it's only later on when I'm looking at, and then I put the second coat on. I do that again with when it comes to water spraying with my metal bladed speed skim. Then at that stage, the fat that I've got, I will use, and then I'll go down the corner with the corner trowel, the twitcher, internal corner trowel, and and then I'll just carry on troweling back from that to get the corner nice. You'll see that in that video that should be coming out tomorrow, part 3 of me 3-parter on the garden lodge. Sorry I missed you earlier, mate. But with the suction, you just got to make sure that you're covering everything with enough PVA. If a surface is going to be really porous, then I mean, you probably know already, mate, that I put neat PVA on everything, work it well in, and if you've got the neat PVA that goes over a bit of original plaster, once that's dried, you know that's going to be fine. Over maybe some brickwork where there might be a bit more suction in it, then it might be worth putting a second coat of neat PVA over the brick area, just to make sure. You don't need to go over the whole area again, just the brick area, and let it go off, just to make sure that there's not too much suction in it. And again, the way to test for the suction once that PVA is dry is to give the bricks or the finish, the original finish, just a little spray of water. If it soaks in, you obviously know there's still an issue there with suction. By the time you put 2 neat coats on brickwork, that water should just hang on the surface. It shouldn't draw in, or not at any great speed. And then you know it should all go off at the same pace. But yeah, if you've got varying amounts of suction and you only put a couple of watered down wishy-washy coats of PVA on it, you will get issues with Dalmatian or whatever it's called. But of that, parts of it going off, parts of it not going off. I think the downfall of the that plaster that came out where they said you don't have to use any PVA on the wall. Looking at guys that had used it, although it coped well with the fact areas were going off at different paces, they were still going off at different speeds, which when you're skimming anything, you don't want the finish going off at different speeds. You want the whole lot going off at the same time. Otherwise, 1 minute you're messing about with the bits that are drying, and then the bits that are staying wet, you're waiting for those, and you're going in between the bit that needs some water on it and the bit that's still too wet to put water on. So lots of PVA, mate. Let it dry. Check the suction absorption, and then crack on, and you should be fine. Alex, always got to be careful when scraping it back. Always wear a respirator. Do, mate. If you're going to scrape it off, make sure you are wearing some kind of respirator or some kind of breathing apparatus. Also remember to be having that on when you're sweeping it off the floor, not just while you're scraping it. Because another thing some people do, they'll put some mask on, they'll scrape stuff off that's a bit dodgy, and not thinking about it later, then they'll go around the room with a broom sweeping up whatever, general dust as well, but with all the bits of Artex in without a mask or respirator on, which kind of defeats the object. But if you keep a mask on, fine. But I just try to avoid scraping the stuff if I can help it. Malcolm, thanks. Yeah, no worries, Malcolm. No worries. That should do the trick, mate. That should do the trick. But let's see how we go. Right, how long we've been going? I thought, because I lose track of time with all this waffling that I do, and before I know it, we're on here an hour and a half, pushing 2 hours. 10 minutes past 20. What's that? No, mate. Oh, hang on. 10 past 8. Oh, that's not too bad. Yeah, we're going for a little while longer yet. But I'm trying to cull it in a little bit, because I'm going to pop onto the Discord server when I come off of this tonight. So anyone that wants to pop over there, or is in the process of trying to become a member and it's a bit stuck, hopefully I'll be able to help you out. But so I'll be on the Ask the Plasterer Discord. All the links are in the descriptions of my videos. And on for anyone else that wasn't here earlier, also on Saturdays now between 10 and 11, which is when most guys are probably going shopping, Tesco's or whatever, I'll be on the Discord server just so if you want to chat about anything plastering related or tools related, I'll be on there. Yeah. Anyone else want to ring me? 07516 214 983. Go on. Be a daredevil. Get your voice up in lights. Think of a question or something about a tool and ring me up and ask me. But turn your if you have got this playing on some other bit of kit, your television or a laptop, turn it down while you're on the phone, because there's a delay and you get really bad echo and stuff like that. But it's still worth a ring. I've got to admit, a while back when I was doing this and I put the phone number out and I didn't realise I had the phone on silent. It kept going off, but I just wasn't noticing. Too busy gassing. Dear. Jason, hi Jason. Have you had your jab yet? Yesterday, mate. Yesterday morning. If you're going to book a jab and you're at that age where you can have one, try and get the best time to get an appointment is on a Sunday, early as possible. Mine was meant to be about 9:10. I got there at because there's no traffic on a Sunday. I got to this particular place where I knew there was parking as well. The place I booked. Got in there 9:15. Went straight in. They said, "Oh yeah, don't bother hanging about till your appointment time." Went in and I was back in the car, having had my jab by 9 o'clock. And my appointment wasn't meant to be till 9:10, and I was on my way home by 9. So yeah, didn't thought it was going to work because I had a flu jab, my first flu jab ever, earlier on this year, because they're giving those away, and quite really didn't hurt. You know, I'm quite a tough soldier, but I could feel it burn when you put it in, the flu jab. So I was expecting something similar when I had the old COVID one yesterday, and more it just felt like it was just going a bit into my skin, because they push that thing straight into your muscle. So that's what I was expecting to feel like that, but it didn't. And I was kind of like, oh, I was expecting it to just be a little bit more painful. But anyway, thankfully I've had no issue with my arm aching, because my missus had hers a while ago, because she's works in the care industry, and she had a really sore arm for 3 or 4 days, couldn't lay on it or anything, and I thought, you don't need that as a spread, obviously, but I've been all right, no problem there. A bit of shivers yesterday, but I think that's just because the missus won't let me put the heating on. Dear, but yeah, I felt all right so far. So it's taken a couple of days. Everybody's a bit different, but yes, mate. The short answer is I've had me jab. I've had me Rona jab. Oh dear. Alex, I struggle sometimes with beads. I always fill beads and joints first, and then go up and down, then lay the next part on. How do you try to stop getting lines and trowel? What I've often done, I mean, recently I've taken a lot to using the rapid setting glue to put my beads on, which is definitely not Plasterer's traditional way to stick on a bead. You should be planting beads on. They can be screwed on or nailed on or whatever, but generally you plant them on into the finish or into some bonding. A lot of my jobs, because once you put a bead on, you have got a lot more thickness to kind of take up from the corner of the bead to the wall. You see it in a few of my videos where I bond the beads. I use bonders to stick the beads in, and then I'll basically put bond in either sides of the bead to take up the thickness that the bead's created. So from the corner of the bead to my wall is nice and flat. So then once that's all done as a first time job, if it's dried quite a lot, then you need to put a coat of PVA on it before you do the skimming. But then when it comes to doing the skimming, no matter how you put your finish on, whether it's into the bead or up the bead, because that bonding's already there, taking out most of that dip that was there that you're normally trying to fill with finish, it's a lot easier to do the finish, and obviously you use less finish because that's taken up by bonding. Yeah, that's what I do an awful lot, because it's it just makes the skimming easier. And if a job is quite big and you need the skimming to be easy, especially if it's got a lot of beads, a lot of angles, I like to have all the angles stuck solid and bonded to to do that, so that when it comes to the skimming, all this awkward stuff, you can just whack it on. Nothing's going to move. You're not going to have any issues with trail lines or anything around that. Hope that's answered your question, mate. And I haven't just waffled and you don't know what I'm talking about. I'll try and be as descriptive as I can. As I said before, and I'll always say, I advise on this channel, but I don't tell anybody how to do their job. Different plasterers work in different ways. They use different tools, and it's about being respectful to people. If you get on with doing something in a certain way, and the end result is a good end result, then I don't see what the problem is. But hey, so yeah. What's Bill Gates saying? Oh yeah, I've got to admit there, Norman, that since I've had my jab, I've got this overwhelming love for Bill Gates. It must be the old microchip. It's gone in me arm. Yeah, I can type a lot better now as well. Funnily enough. Strange. Oh, don't, mate. The conspiracy theories. I mean, to be quite honest with you, I don't care if Bill Gates is stuck a microchip in me flipping arm. Life can't get more complicated anyway, can it? Than it is right now. But yeah, I don't think it's anything to worry about. Dear. Jason Cow, yeah, I had the shivers. Oh, you have had yours then, Jason. Yeah, I got them a little bit, and my missus, she got them quite bad for a few days, but I'm hoping nothing kicks in later, because I was off today because of it. I thought I'd better make sure I'm not working the following day just in case, but I'm on quite a big through lounge Artex ceiling, funny enough, tomorrow, and there's a curve as you go in the room as well, so there's a curved bit of Artex ceiling, then the main Artex first part of the through lounge, then there's a beam, but that's already smooth, thankfully, and then there's Artex the other side, and I want to bash that out in a day because it's over in Caterham, so I don't really want to go back for another day. So hopefully, yeah, my arm will still be all right tomorrow. But I'll let you know. Zoltar, I use dab for my beads. Dab. So you can use plastic beads. Yeah, I've never used plastic beads. I've seen them recently and kind of thought, perhaps on certain things I could use a plastic bead, but yeah, I've only ever used galvanised render beads and galvanised plasterboard beads. There's all sorts of different things you can get now, and beads and stuff. And yeah, it's all good stuff. Stramit, have you ever repaired a Stramit board? What's Stramit board, Eddie? I might know what it is under a different name. Can you describe it to me? All right, Norman. Yeah. Oh dear. Stramit board. I mean, I might have repaired Stramit board. Is it some kind of well, like a cement board or something like that, as opposed to a plaster board? Come on, Eddie, you got to learn to type faster. Or you could ring me, Eddie, and tell me what Stramit board is. That'd be easier. Oh dear. Do any of you guys know what Stramit board is? I mean, I've got a video of me doing repairs in plasterboard. There's the obvious, quite easy one where if there's a round hole cut out and you've still got the round bit of plaster, you can whack it in. And another one where you can, if it's a big jagged hole, you cut a big square bigger than a hole, put a hole in it, put a bit of scrim through it, tie a knot in the other end, slice the board down one side, snap it so it's still attached but snapped, put it into your hole, open it out, and then pull it down with the scrim that you've tied through it with a knot on the, say, the top if it was a hole in the ceiling, and then fill it in with some bonding while you're holding the scrim to stop it going up. Once that's set, you just cut the scrim off and fill the hole. You can probably do that on ceramic board, depending on what ceramic board is. My house is filled with ceramic board. Norman, you're not helping. ceramic board is hay walls. Is that kind of like that board that looks like it's made of hay or straw compressed with whatever they compress it with? Is that what it is? Is that what we're talking about here? Ceramic board. That Mike don't know either. Pardon me. No, not getting any takers. No one knows what ceramic board is. Have you gone home, Eddie? But no one reckons it's like some kind of hay. You could probably repair it, but I find something like that, if you put, if it's not too flexible, put neat coat of PVA over it, and yeah, you could probably skim it, repair it, put bonding in it, on it. But I've never done it that I know of. Right, guys, where are we at? Nope. A Kentucky patch. You cut the plasterboard but leave some of the paper on. Oh, I saw that Zoltar on some American guy's video where he cuts out a chunk and then he leaves a bigger ring of paper around the plaster. So when you push it in the hole, he kind of sticks that and then puts a drywall finish over it. Yeah, but this is even less complicated the way I do it. Watch my video called Eric's Quick Tips Drywall Tips. That's the one you want to look at. That's how to repair a hole in plasterboard. And because I've been in a lot of places where they've cut loads of holes in the ceiling for lights, and they've come in the wrong place. And they said, "Oh, can you fill those holes in?" Obviously, because we don't want lights in those holes. And I used my old technique where, that's on that video. So it's probably easier to watch that. Yeah, it is compact straw, Norman. Right, okay. Eddie, straw balls. Okay. No, I don't think I've ever repaired any stuff like that, to my knowledge. But it probably, as I say, if it's not too flexible, it's quite a thick board, and depending where it's fixed, you probably could, as I said, you put a neat cut PVA on it, it'll probably hold a repair fine. But but don't quote me on that one. Oh, no stud work, just compacted straw with plasterboard paper on it. No, I mean I've seen some thick plasterboard walls in some of these new build houses where the so-called timber frames in between that make up a wall is about an inch of timber, and then this great big thick plasterboard either side of it. And I'm thinking, what kind of wall is that? Why can't they just? I know wood can be quite expensive, but they have these thin trusses up in the roofs, which means you've got no loft space. You get a lot of people with cracking ceilings in a lot of these new timber framed houses because the thinness of the joists up in the ceiling, and the dividing walls. No wonder they sound so hollow, and you can hear people in the next room. I don't think I could buy a timber framed place. One good reason is because in Australia I saw one on the news floating down the river the other day. That wouldn't happen with a brick house. Oh dear. Frankie, hello Frankie. Have you got a frame around? I'm pretty sure it was your granddad that you've got his trowel engraved, mate, wasn't it? Straw boards, Norman Buckley. No stud work yet. Alex, do you PVA old plaster boards? Sometimes, yeah. I mean, if you want to be sure they're going to be fine, it's good to give old plasterboards a coat of PVA. if even with new plasterboards, if they've been left out in a really hot sun, obviously it just would be during the summer, or in a yard where they've been in direct sunlight, they can get so porous. And I discovered this through trial and error on a big boarded wall. And I thought, oh, it's plasterboards. I'll just skim it in the usual way. And the finish went off like lightning. And the finish was fine because it was still soaking wet in the bucket. And it was because the boards had got that dry that the absorption somehow of the plaster inside the card was crazy. So I did PVA over the rest of that before I did it, which was then fine. So so if you're unsure, then it's a fail-safe thing to do. Put coat PVA over old plasterboards. Then you know it'll be absolutely fine, rather than risk it perhaps being a little bit dodgy or something weird happening. But good coat PVA should be fine. Right, Frankie, sorry mate, would you not do a live video of you skimming? Live? Well, I'll tell you what, if I get a decent phone, I might, because that's crossed my mind. And chat at the same time. Well, yeah, I suppose I could do that. I need to get a decent phone, because my phone, I mean, this setup I've got at home is like, it's a desktop computer for streaming, so it's fine, but obviously I can't take it anywhere. My phone is so old that the picture quality is rubbish. So my missus said she thinks I deserve a new phone. So if I get a decent phone, I will probably give that a go, Frankie. Because if people want to see that, then I'm always open to ideas. I'll be quite happy to do a live skimming of a wall on the job, where people can chat. I mean, I might not be able to chat to you that well. If I'm trying to do, depends how big it is. If it's a fairly small wall, then or ceiling, then I could talk to anyone that was watching at the time while I'm doing it. Obviously, if it was really big, I couldn't keep stopping to look at my phone and see who's on there and what questions they're asking. But again, I might be able to rig that up with a separate phone using like the studio phone that I've got here, the 07516214983, which is only switched on actually for this. But if I did do a live stream via a decent phone of me skimming a wall or something similar, I would use that office studio phone then as well. So you could ring me up. I could put it on loudspeaker, and you could talk to me, and I could talk back to you while I'm actually doing the job, which I think sounds like a good idea. Good thinking there, Frankie. Yeah, definitely going to ponder that, mate. Eddie, I said, oh, sorry, Eddie. Yeah, it's technology, mate. You sent the message straight away, but there was a long delay. I think. Sorry, I've got your words on two different screens here, but I'm just making sure they are coming up at the same time, more or less. But no, thanks, Eddie. We got there in the end with the old straw board. But it's probably repairable if it's half decent. And I'm getting your replies now, Eddie. They're coming up through all right. I'm assuming you can see what you're typing on the screen. There will be a slight delay between what goes out from my the streaming software to the YouTube software, but it's quite good. There's only a few seconds in it, which is handy. Alex, hi Alex. How would you tackle, say, a 2 or 3 mix ceiling? The largest mix I would ever generally do, Alex, is 2 bags, so 50 kilos of multi-finish, which more or less fills up the bucket that I use for knocking up gear. I can handle a 2-bag mix, no problem. If something might be a bit more than the 2-bag mix, I'll do the 2-bag mix. I will see how far it gets, and if I know there's not going to be quite enough to just finish off this thing I'm putting on, I will stick a bit of gear into what I've got left and knock that up just so I've got enough to finish it off, and also mix them together so it still more or less goes off at the same speed as the first mix I've knocked up. If it was a 3-bag mix, then I wouldn't do 3-bag, not without working with a labourer. Then that would be doable, because that's different. But because I've worked on my own for donkeys, I don't go past the 2-bag mix on that. But with a labourer, and definitely with another mate plastering, then and a labourer, then you just get them to whack it up, and you would just whack on the stuff because it's getting supplied as you need it. And that's the time issue when you are working completely on your own. If something has to go over a 2-bag mix, then that's when you have to work your way around it. Fortunately, most of the things I do, a 2-bag mix will cover. If it's the ceiling I did on the lodge video that's just come out, that was 15 foot in old money by 12 foot, and that was exactly 2 bags. Once I'd knocked up, watered down what was left of my first mix to use as a tight second coat, I used exactly 2 bags and finished that ceiling off. So that's a long answer to what should have been a short one. Eddie, sorry Eddie. Right guys, how are we doing for time? Probably stay on here a few more minutes guys, and then I'm going to shut down Ask the Plasterer for tonight, and obviously it'll be up at within the next day or two as a podcast on Spotify or anywhere you get your podcast from. Probably you just have to search Ask the Plasterer podcast, so you can kind of just listen to it, because you will get some adverts on the, not this live one, but on the copy that goes up. They bung ads in it or on it at the beginning and at the end, blah blah blah, but you don't get those on the podcasts, and you can just listen to it in your headphones or whatever when you're at work or whenever takes your fancy. I wouldn't listen to it in bed though. Well, not if you're married. It's this. I think, ooh, what are you doing? Malcolm, have you tried that extra time stuff yet? I have used that, mate, in part 3 of the video, which hopefully will be out tomorrow at some point. I say I'm working tomorrow, but I'll finish. I've got the whole thing edited. I've got to do a quick narration over the top of the part 3, but that is about ad mixes. I won't tell you exactly what happens on that, but I use on that job in the third part of the video, I'm using an accelerator to make the finish go off in an hour quicker. You'll see and hear the results of that on the video. I personally have come to the conclusion that because I never mix up more than 2 bags, a 2-bag mix, and I can handle a 2-bag mix on big flat area or even on awkward areas around chimney breasts and stuff, and use most of that up in the standard setting time that's allowed. So for me to put an additive in it to slow down the set would be a kind of a pointless thing to do for me. And I suppose the only other thing that would bother me a little bit was if I had learnt to plaster areas, even if they weren't particularly large, because I was slowing down the mix with an ad mix. If you get used to that, then it might turn out that any time you do any plastering, you always have to put a mix in it to retard it and to slow it down, which is obviously more stuff to buy, more money to spend, and might hold you back on the gaining the experience of being able to get something done within its natural set time, as opposed to making it hang out longer. The ones that speed stuff up and accelerate stuff, that I can definitely appreciate, because the times I've had to put a little patch of bonding or a little patch of finish on something, and I'm thinking, I'm going to have to wait for this to go off before I can trail it up. But whack some of that in, and I think we're probably laughing. But yeah, anyway, but I'll briefly go through that on the part 3 of the video, so enjoy that as soon as it's out. Cheers, Mike. Good night, mate. And see you soon. Speak to you later. Right, guys, I think unless something pops through in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to call it quits on here for tonight. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for any potential guys that have been watching but not taking part, regards, I don't know, typing in or ringing in or whatever. If you're plasterers, novices, DIYers, whatever, great. Let's hear from you. It'd be nice to get any questions that you might have. If you're potential customers, you're looking for plasterers, yeah, get in touch via the channel, via the Discord community, Ask the Plasterer site that is in the links in all my video descriptions. Or a bit of dirty water speeds things up, Alex, yeah, but sometimes it does and sometimes it don't, and you're never quite sure how much it's going to speed it up or not speed it up. Eddie. Cheers, Eddie, mate. Nice to see you. We'll be back, obviously, on this in a fortnight's time. Is that Easter then? I can't go anywhere still because they're still technically in lockdown, aren't we? So if that is Easter, I'll probably still be doing this on that particular Monday, unless something exciting, amazing happens. But I will let you know ahead of time. But I should be back here, same time, same place, in 2 weeks' time. So not next Monday, the one after, and I'll be in between that time seeing my face in another video, and over on the old Discord server. Right, guys. Oh, hang on. Yep, I'm going to sign out now. Thanks for coming along, and I might see you over on the server shortly. Oh, cheers, Alex. Yeah, nice that you can make it and make it live as well. Because yeah, it's a bit nicer than just watching the replay. And I have to explain to some people, do try and ring, because it's not very explanatory, is it, when it's not actually live, and wonder why they can't get through. And when it is live, no one tries ringing. But anyway, yeah, cheers, guys, and once again, I shall struggle to find the me off button, but I know it's here somewhere, and I will see you shortly, or soon. Bye for now.